Okay, we're going. It's happening.
We're going. It's happening.
Yes. Welcome back.
I'm ready.
That's the mantra for today. Erin's very ready. But anyways, welcome back to Pixel Perfect Podcast. I'm Paige.
I'm Erin.
And she's ready.
I'm totally ready.
She's
And
ready.
by ready, I mean I'm exhausted. I've barely eaten today, and I have done none of my schoolwork this week. Let's go.
It's great.
Yes.
We're on a mission today. It's gonna be a heavy book episode because considering both our news item and what we're talking about.
Yeah, which is gonna be weird because this is the first time we've talked about a book that wasn't in conjunction with a movie or TV show.
Yeah, that's very true. So
this is our first all book episode.
Yes, this should be fun. Before we dive into it, our news item is that Stephanie freaking Meyer announced that Midnight Sun is gonna be released. I think when that leaked, I think I tried really hard not to read it because this is back in 2008 or something like that, and I tried so hard. Oh yeah, I definitely caved after like a week, and I definitely read it.
Yeah. So okay. So to give a little background, Paige and I were massive Twilight people back in late middle school, early high school.
Massive.
We weren't like Bite Me, Edward Cullen crazy. We were just normal fans.
But we did have the Bite Me t-shirts, or was that me and Carrie?
No, you did. You had. No, it was Carrie.
I think because me and Carrie got sent to the principal's office for wearing Bite Me t-shirts in the 8th grade.
Yeah. So, yes. So, Paige still hates it.
I don't hate it. I strongly dislike it. You know,
we went from loving it to vitriol hatred to back to normal.
Yeah, because I don't want to ride that train of pure haters who are kind of like anything teenage girls like they is wrong. So
the sexist people.
Yeah, so I don't want to be lumped in with that.
I actually reread Twilight relatively recently, sometime in the last year, and I enjoyed it more than I have in the past 8 years, and I don't think it's as bad as people remember.
I think I tried. I feel like I tried about 5 years ago, and I still was like, no, I hate the writing in these characters.
I am of the firm opinion it is not as bad as people, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm probably gonna buy the Kindle version of Midnight Sun.
We have to do an episode about it. We have to read it and do an episode about it. We can't not.
You have to reread Twilight, though. You have to at least reread the first book.
No, I think I read that enough that I remember what happened. The number of rereads I have on that.
If you're going to do an episode on it, you have to reread it with an open mind as an educated 26-year-old woman.
Ugh, that's gross. I hate it.
You're gonna. That is my requirement.
All right, well, I'm not purchasing it. I'm going to have to borrow it, so...
That's fine. It's on the library if you actually sign up for the library.
That's true. Well, I have to do that in person, which I can't until the world's not on fire anymore.
Okay, but theoretically, you could do it from the library.
Theoretically, I will consider that. But yeah, so...
That's my requirement.
That was the first thought I had as soon as Midnight Sun was released. I was like, fuck, we have to do an episode about that.
It's soon, too. It's August.
Yeah, really soon.
It's August 4th.
Yeah. I was kind of surprised.
They kept it pretty well under wraps for a long time.
Definitely. I just
because this would have had to have been at least 2 years in the works.
Has she written anything in the meantime besides The Host?
I believe she has, but I know nothing about them.
Okay.
But I believe she has.
Okay.
I mean, there was also that 10th anniversary edition of Twilight where she released a gender bent.
Oh, I totally forgot about that.
Yeah, so she released the original Twilight, and then she released a version where Edward was a woman and Bella was a man.
Okay.
And that was the 10th anniversary edition, which was the weirdest fucking thing.
Yeah. Did you read it?
Well, I was a librarian at the time, and I had to buy it for the library because it was basically my boss made me, and was basically like, you have to buy this for the library. So I bought it for the library, and so I flipped through it.
Yeah.
And I read a bunch of reviews before I bought it.
Fascinating.
So yeah.
Well, yeah. So look out for that episode in the future. It's going to be fascinating.
It's going to be a trip.
Absolutely.
It's going to be great.
I'm not going to lie. I am kind of excited because it's just it's been so long.
actually enjoy the snippet of Midnight Sun that was released way back more than Twilight.
Yeah, I think I remember feeling that way too. Like, I liked getting Edward's point of view, mostly because, like, if anything, I would love to get stories about his family because they all have the coolest backstories that are super intriguing, and I'm like, why can't I know more about them?
I think there's also an element of Stephenie Meyer's internalized misogyny, and that Edward is a much more active character.
Yeah, that's very
So he's
true.
naturally he's basically more interesting than Bella, and that's
Yeah.
because Bella was basically made to be an empty shell. She was like purposely written to be an empty shell.
Yep.
So I think it's just better.
Yeah. I could definitely see that. So that should be a fun time.
Yep. It's gonna be good.
It's gonna be great.
Any more thoughts, or do you want to move on?
Nope, that's all I had on that.
Okay, so full disclosure,
Did you
I was doing research for this, and I saw your Goodreads.
Oh no.
Like, oh, we're gonna have things to talk about today.
I'm gonna be. I wouldn't put too much stock in that though. My ratings are really. I'm tough on books when it comes to ratings. Like, I think I might have like 2 on my whole list that might have 5 stars.
I don't bother really rating anything. But Paige had a 2-star rating for.
I did.
Okay, so the book we're talking about is The Right Swipe.
Yes.
Which was written by Alisha Rai.
I don't know. I keep saying Ray in my head, but I'm not 100% positive.
It's Rai.
Yeah.
And we apologize. I didn't have time to look at the pronunciation before we did this.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's part of her modern love series. She's written a second book with one of the characters from the series.
Right. And that one's not out yet, right?
I thought it was.
Is it out? Oh, maybe it is. I don't remember. I know like there was the first chapter was like at the end of this book. Because this just came out in 2019, late 2019. And the next one is either out or coming out very soon.
Now I have to look it up because I'm curious.
In the meantime, this book has a 3.7 average rating on Goodreads and a 4.1 average on Barnes & Noble, and is a contemporary romance, which is not often something I grab for. So.
Did you happen to stumble upon her scandal with the Romance Writers of America?
No. What?
Okay, so it's actually really interesting because for class this week I had to go and look at an organization, like a genre organization, and it was published April 21st, by the way.
So it's like a week ago.
But so the Romance Writers of America are basically this organization that helps support romance writers.
Mm-hmm.
But as anyone who reads romance knows, the romance genre is very white and straight and cis. And
yeah.
So basically what happened is this, I believe she was Asian American author who was on the board, got kicked off the board and suspended for basically calling out the RWA for racism, which made total sense to me.
Right.
And they kicked her off the board, and then of course everybody like flipped out, and the author was one of those people who tweeted out like a big support. And so there was just basically this giant scandal about racism with the Romance Writers of America. And it's because like it's interesting because this author originally self-published, but it was because she was literally told romance with non-white characters won't sell. So it's one of those examples of like basically you self-publish because you have to.
Right, yeah.
And that's so it was just really interesting to kind of look at that. I wasn't able to delve too deeply into it, but I had heard about it before I had found out that she was part of it. And it was just this giant explosion on Twitter where the author was Christina Milan, and she was basically like, RWA is a fucking racist mess.
Good for her.
And they banned her for inappropriate conduct, basically.
Oh, that's some bull.
So, yeah.
Damn.
This author's like a badass.
Right? Goodness. So, was The Right Swipe traditionally published? Because I know I saw a couple things where like people were startled by the price point of this one compared to her other novels.
Yes.
Okay.
This is a HarperCollins. It's published through Avon Publishing, which is a part of HarperCollins.
Gotcha. Okay.
So
yeah.
as far as I can tell, this one has been traditionally published.
That's
But
what
she
I was
has,
thinking.
yeah, but she's done self-published before.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she does the contemporary erotic and paranormal romance genre
Yeah.
novels. Yeah.
I was not expecting this novel to have so much sex in it.
No, I was kind of
I was
startled.
not prepared. Which was fine. Like, it was fine,
Yeah.
but it was more related to Elle Kennedy than I thought it was gonna be.
Yes, I was also surprised. Before we dive into it, we should probably talk about what the book is actually about. Give a
Yes,
brief synopsis.
we do this always.
I know. I actually have the Amazon description pulled up. I could read it. It is like a quick couple
Sure.
of paragraphs. Okay. So this is direct from Amazon, so any cheesy sentences are not things that I'm saying. So, Rhiannon Hunter may have revolutionized romance in the digital world, but in real life, she only swipes right on her career and the occasional hookup. The cynical dating app creator controls her love life with a few key rules. Nude pics are by invitation only. If someone stands you up, block them with extreme prejudice and protect your heart. Only there aren't any rules to govern her attraction to her newest match, former pro football player Samson Lima. The sexy and seemingly sweet hunk woos her one magical night and disappears. Rhea thought she'd buried her hurt over Samson ghosting her until he suddenly surfaces months later, still big, still beautiful, and in league with a business rival. He says he won't fumble their second chance, but she's wary. A temporary physical partnership is one thing, but a merger of hearts, surely that's too high a risk.
Yeah, so I found this book when I was working at the library. It was just like I was shelving new books and I was going through it and I found it. And we were basically like desperately looking for something to talk about the last time we ended an episode.
Yep.
We were just, what are we gonna do? And I'm just like going through my Kindle, like, oh, this is here.
Right?
We could do this. And then
Everything's
we were like,
canceled. We need
sure.
something.
So it was kind of a very last minute decision that we didn't really know too much about the book before we read it.
Right. But
So
I feel like it was a good pick though. Like
I feel
for a
like it was
discussion.
I thought it was a solid, yeah, I
Absolutely.
agree. It turned out to be good. So I mean,
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. There were parts of it that you could probably criticize, but I really enjoyed it actually.
I was just mad about
Yeah.
it. Like, I was like, it was funny as you texted me earlier and you're like, it's a fast read. And the reason I never answered was because I didn't, I wanted to save it for the podcast, is because you were right. It is a fast read, but I just like slogged through it. I don't know why I had the hardest time getting through it. I actually skipped like paragraphs here and there where like it wasn't a Samson and Rhiannon scene because I was like, I just don't
You
give a shit
did
about what's
that.
happening. But it was
That was the thing we had with this romance before, where you're just like, if it's not the romance, I don't care.
It was much less than the other one though. That particular book we talked about, I skipped like hundreds of pages. This was just like a handful of paragraphs here and there that I was like, okay, let's get through this. But I just, for some reason, it felt really slow to me, and like I felt like there was extra stuff in there that like didn't seem necessary. So I just had a hard time getting through it.
Sorry for the beep. Anyone just heard? My phone went off.
Oops.
Yeah, I didn't have that problem.
Like I wouldn't define it as a book I couldn't put down. I definitely had no problem putting it down.
I guess I didn't have a problem putting it down, but I was engaged enough to keep going. I was like, this is fine. I'm not slogging through it. Like, I'm enjoying it. Like I thought it was talking about some really important issues.
Yeah, I have a whole pros and cons list, and I think there are a lot of good pros.
Yeah.
It's just some of the cons for me were major, or were probably why I had a hard time getting through it.
So what were the cons? What were your cons then?
My cons? The freaking romance. Like, it didn't feel like enough. Like, I just didn't feel like there was enough romance. Samson felt like too perfect to me. Like, I didn't really feel like he had major personality flaws. He just kind of was like processing some trauma, which like a lot of people go through. Like, I don't know. He just like he didn't seem to have like his own thing that he needed to like overcome, and it didn't seem like there were the romantic moments between the two of them felt like few and far between, and just not enough to me. It felt lacking.
Okay. So I'm not sure I agree with you on the Samson's part. I mean, I think that the author was less heavy-handed with Samson than she was with Rhiannon in terms of issues and trauma.
Yeah, which was another con for me because I felt she was too heavy-handed with Rhiannon, and I was like, it got to a point where like we were paragraphs of her problems, and I'm like, yes, I know, we've established this. Like, you can just show us what's happening in the moment. We understand why she's acting like this.
Yeah, I guess I can see that. I mean, part of it, the problem is that I'm still kind of processing because I finished it a half hour ago.
That's
Which
understandable.
I'm very sorry for. It's been a week, people.
And it's only Tuesday.
And it's only Tuesday. So I'm trying to kind of process it as we talk.
Yeah.
But I guess I can definitely agree and see that the author. I think the author was fundamentally more interested in Rhiannon than she was with Samson.
Yeah.
And I think that Samson kind of got shuffled to the side a little bit.
Yeah, I definitely felt like that.
But I don't necessarily think that he was like that I didn't know what his issue were, or that I didn't understand what was happening, or that he didn't have issues.
Yeah.
I guess is what I'm saying, is that I did feel like there was depth to him.
Yeah, I
If
would
that
say
makes
like
sense.
him on his own like had depth, but it just in like regards to his relationship with Rhiannon, I felt like.
Well, I think it's partly because on his side it was a bit of insta love.
Yeah.
Where he was just so completely infatuated with her that it was like she couldn't do any wrong. And I kind of wish there was a little bit more tug back and forth, where I guess when I got to the end, I wasn't expecting the resolution to happen so quickly.
That was one of my
But,
things
like,
on my cons list. Yeah.
he never really apologizes, I don't think, at least
Not
in my
really.
memory.
No, she really
And
doesn't.
she never goes like, there's never a conversation where she's like, my issues are for this reason. And obviously, like, Rhiannon gone through a fair amount of trauma.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's understandable why she is what she is. You can't blame her.
Right.
So it's not so much that she needs to apologize for her behavior, so much as basically say, like, this is what happened to me, and I just need you to understand that this is why I'm behaving.
Right, yeah.
So I don't necessarily want to say like she needs to actively apologize for the fact that she's got PTSD.
Right.
But just having a conversation would have been nice. And the fact that like Samson wanted to have a conversation, she was like, no, sex. And I was
Yeah.
like, okay, you should probably have the conversation before you have sex.
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely agree with that. It felt like Samson let her off the hook a little too easily, and I was like,
Yeah.
dude, you're
And I
allowed to
think
be
the
like,
book did too.
yeah.
I think the author let her get away with it.
Yeah, definitely. Like I could have used a little more. I don't know.
But like at the same time, I get someone taking on more of the more of the relationship basically because of past abusive relationships and trauma.
Yeah, right.
Because that makes sense to me. So I guess I'm kind of on the fence about it a little bit. But I
Right.
do think they should have had a conversation.
Right.
Is what it boils down to for me.
Yeah, exactly. I
think
agree
there
with
was a little bit of the author was trying to shove in the sex a little bit more than it needed to be there. Like the story she built didn't need quite as much. Like it wasn't like if you think about like Elle Kennedy and The Deal,
Mm-hmm.
she built that book around the sex for a very specific reason.
Yes, and it
So
worked very well.
Yes. So like the sex feels like it's not shoved in, it feels very purposeful. There's a reason for all the sex scenes. And this book felt a bit more like it's been 20 pages, so we need a sex scene, so let's have a sex scene.
Yeah, absolutely. I would
Does that
definitely
make
agree
sense?
with that. Yeah, because they even felt clunky when you were reading them. Like I think the scene in the car, the dialogue during that scene when they were getting intimate with each other, I was like, this is really weird and uncomfortable.
It's not the best sex scenes I've ever read.
No.
Like, I think once you read Elle Kennedy, you can't go back, and you're
No,
just like,
you can't. People, you got to read The Deal. Sorry.
you gotta, and it's free. Because so what Kindle authors do is they'll do this thing where they release a book for free, and then it's to make you pay a higher than normal price for all their other books.
Yeah.
So the deal is free, people.
Right. So get it.
Improve your lives.
Download it immediately.
Tons of sex, though. I'm just gonna tell you right now.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It is smut.
Hello, Paige's coworkers and my family.
Oh God, it's fine. They're gonna see like, oh, romance novel episode, pass.
I mean, let's hope so.
Right? Oh my God. But I mean, like, I guess beyond those major problems, I think those are big problems to me. I think that made me feel meh. but I think if someone were to ask me if they should read it, I probably would say yes, because there are a lot of really important components in the book that I think it's worth reading.
Yeah, I think the book engages with some important issues that it didn't
Yeah.
necessarily have to do. It didn't I don't think it had to do nearly as much work as it was doing, and I like that it did that work.
Yeah.
Um,
Like, just things like you wouldn't even think about being issues, like the whole CTE being caused by like football. I was like, I didn't even know that was a thing.
that's because you don't watch
I
football.
do not. I mean, I had heard like talk not long ago about like how people were starting to talk about how dangerous football really can be, but that was like the gist of it. I never really like looked into how
Oh,
bad.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like, the thing about football is that a very basic hit can give you a concussion and do, like, permanent brain damage.
Oh, absolutely.
It's a
Because they're
very dangerous sport.
like, walk it off. You're fine. You're concussed. Just go hit your head again. It's cool.
Yeah. So, yeah, but I think that, like, the thing I like about too is that there needs to be this active effort, I think, to support non-white writers and non-white characters,
Yeah.
which is the whole point of the RWA discussion is that, like, you have to actively support these things so that people will publish them and that
Hmm.
people will read them. It's not like you
Absolutely.
can't just pay lip service to the service. You have to buy the books.
Right.
And you have to, you know.
Right.
So
And this book has just like a really diverse and very well thought out cast. It's very interesting to read, and like it may not knock your socks off depending on who you are, but I did see tons of rave reviews about it who loved the romance and the characters, so but it's worth looking into.
I think it's solid. I don't think it's amazing. I think it's solid.
Absolutely.
That's kind of my final opinion on it. Is just that
And I
it's
oh, go ahead, sorry.
it's an, it's an acceptable romance. I didn't
Yeah,
finish hating it, but I didn't finish raving about it.
right. I probably won't read it again, but I don't regret reading it. And it gave me an interesting like a it improved my feelings about online dating, actually, because I feel like I was being a little judgy about that facet
Oh,
of
that's
dating still,
interesting.
and
Yeah,
like not intentionally, just like I think in my mind, because I've been off the market for so long, so like I can't even
because
fathom
you
it.
met the man you were gonna marry at 15.
Yeah. So like so to me, I think I had internal prejudices about it, but like reading this book kind of opened my eyes more about how it kind of just is the way it is now, and like that's how a lot of people are meeting people. And
Was it like prejudice, do you think, or was it like a I don't understand this and this sounds scary thing?
maybe, yeah, maybe that, and just I think it was slightly a little bit of prejudice, because like to me I was like, well, that doesn't sound like how you meet people, and but it's like that is how you meet people now. That's how a lot of people meet people, because we're not all going out to bars. So
Yeah, I think it's really interesting too, the idea of which is Rhiannon's whole thing of a feminist
oh
dating
my
app.
god, if we had that in real life, that would be the coolest thing ever.
I know, and the idea that, like, unsolicited pics get you instantly banned.
Yeah,
I'm just like,
like, yes,
"Yep,
girl, yes.
yep." And I think it's the issue of workplace harassment and dealing with, like, sexual harassment that's hurts your career is, like, so prevalent right
Oh my
now
god, yeah,
because people are
absolutely.
finally starting to talk about it.
It was very timely. I'm like, this is an important discussion to keep, because I think even by the time this book probably came out, those kinds of conversations are kind of a little bit on the downhill. So I feel like it's kind of nice
Totally.
to have something bring it back out and be like, no, this is still an issue a lot of women are facing in the workplace.
Yeah, I agree. There's this book that I would recommend to people whose name I need to remember. I'm gonna look it up right now. But um it was about the women who broke the case, who like broke the story for Harvey Weinstein's sexual harassment
Hmm.
and how difficult it was to get women to come forward.
Was Rose McGowan one of those? I feel
One of the people who originally came forward, yes.
yeah. Okay.
Um, I have to go back into my books. But yeah, it's a really interesting read of how it's called She Said by Jodi Cantor and Megan Twohey. And it was really, really difficult to convince people to come forward because it was so fucking scary,
Yeah.
basically, for all of these
I
women.
can't even imagine.
So I thought the book was doing important things. I just don't think the romance was as well executed as it could have been.
Yeah, it kind of took like a backseat a little bit to like all the major things she was trying to work in, I feel like.
Which is fine. Like, there's nothing wrong with a novel being more focused on other things than there is in the romance. But when
Right.
you have the traditional genre romance, it's not what you're expecting.
Right. Like when it's marketed as that, and then you go into it and you're like, oh, okay. Like she could have easily gone in the other direction and upped the dramatics around those issues she was talking about, and then not marketed it as a contemporary romance. But I'm
Mm.
sure that's harder to probably sell.
I mean, romance. This is all things I've learned about school last week. But romance makes up about 30% of the market by itself, and it's based on basically romance readers go through books like nobody's business.
Oh, I can
So they
imagine.
have to publish more than everybody else too.
Yeah.
So it's just it's yeah, it's just interesting. What I mean gets makes sense too if you think about the author publishing a book in August of last year and then immediately publishing a book in April of this year.
Yeah.
That's a very fast turnaround.
Absolutely.
So
Do you think
I
you'll
keep
read the
saying
next one?
so. Probably not because I wasn't really interested in the character Christina,
Yeah, I wasn't either.
which is who it's about.
Yeah.
And the novel didn't quite spend enough time with her to make me care about
No. Yeah.
her story. But then again, I read Elle Kennedy's next book, and that was the same deal where we weren't really invested in the character.
That's
We didn't hear
true.
too much about her. And then I read the next book about her.
I really,
But I
I
think that was partially because I was more invested in the guy because the guy was actually in the book a
yeah,
lot.
he like kind of interacted with the other characters more, and like you kind of got to
So it
know him.
might have been that the combination of knowing the girl with having more interaction with the guy
Right.
might have been what it is. Whereas this is just some new random guy we have to get used to
Yeah.
for this book.
I feel like if it was a story about her assistant, it was Lakshmi, right? That was her name.
I would be
I
so
would
up for that. I
read
would
the
read that
shit out of that.
especially because she like gets with a girl at the end, and I'm like, I want this.
And I just love the
Can someone
way
give it
I
to
love
me?
the way she starts that relationship too. Like there's this like bitter rivalry for like 5 minutes, and she's like, "I'm gonna marry this girl."
Right?
I'm like, I need that book.
I would read that story in a second. So I
Absolutely.
don't understand why I got a story about Katrina.
Yeah. Damn it.
Bullshit. I would say we'll get the assistant next, but then again, the timeline wouldn't quite match up for that unless she
Oh
and Tina
yeah,
break up and just meet somebody new, in which case that would work.
that's true. Yeah. Because
Um,
these things usually trilogies when they do these little series? I think Alicia at least writes.
Sometimes Stephanie Perkins did a trilogy. I wouldn't say it's always a trilogy, but I would say that's it's a fairly common thing.
That makes sense.
Because if you think about like Tell the Boys I've Loved Before, if you think about Stephanie Perkins, those are
Yeah,
both YA authors, but um,
yeah. It looks like most of her series tend to be 3 books. Do you think you'll try out any of her other books?
maybe, but the problem is I don't like her sex scenes too much,
I
and she's writing
know.
erotica. So if that's like the basis of it, then like because erotica, like that's the basis of it. So I'm
Yeah,
just not sure that I'm it's gonna be good sex scenes,
right.
which would be my primary concern while reading erotica.
I'm kind of fascinated with the idea that some of them are paranormal romance novels, and I'm like, what are those like?
I mean, Twilight.
That makes sense. I always, for some reason, paranormal, the first thing my brain goes to is ghosts. So I'm like, are they like ghost hunters? What is happening here?
No, I mean like paranormal romance encompasses basically anything that's not human.
That makes sense.
So
Hmm,
like Twilight would be covered as a paranormal romance,
gotcha.
which I am not super interested in.
Yeah, it really depends
But
for me.
there was this. Oh god, I'm never gonna be able to find it now that we're like recording. But there was this thread I once read on Twitter about how fucking difficult it is to write a sex scene. Like how like the idea of writing a bad sex scene can like leave you on your bathroom floor like just freaking out because if you write a bad sex scene, you can like never forgive
You
yourself.
can't like
It's
like you could
impossible.
publish an entire book with just one, and like that one bad scene, everyone would be like, "Have you read this shit?"
Well, right, and it's also like I don't remember exactly what he said, but it was just like I was like, yeah, That haunts my nightmares.
Oh my
Writing
god.
about that scene. So I'm never gonna find it now.
Oh no. Yeah, trying to
But
find
not
Twitter
that I would
threads.
read the entire tweet probably, but I'm just scrolling through Twitter in the middle of our episode now. It's in my likes, I know it is. Actually, you know what? It's not. It's in my retweet,
Oh. Oh wow.
which is going to be way faster to find
Yeah, that's true.
because I hardly ever retweet.
Oh gosh. You know what's fun?
Most of my retweets are pixel perfect. They're mostly this,
Mine are like half that as well.
which makes me feel annoying, but I don't care.
I didn't know there was. So the top of Alisha Rai's Wikipedia page says not to be confused with the Nepalese entertainer Alisha Rai, spelled the same way. Like who? Who is this?
I mean, I don't know.
That's funny.
Probably should, but I don't.
Oh wow, she used to be a lawyer.
Yes, I read about that.
That is fascinating.
This is gonna bother me forever. If I didn't retweet it, I'm gonna have to retweet it now. I'm gonna have to go
If you
find
can even
my
find it
and retweet
initially.
it. No, I did like it. What is this bullshit? Why
Oh
didn't
my
I
goodness.
retweet
We're
it? Why
going
am
on
I
a
a
Twitter
coward?
journey right now.
I know. I'm just a coward who was like worried about retweeting something about a sex scene, and now I can't find it, and this is my suffering. This is my punishment.
This is my suffering.
It's fine. I'll retweet it, and then people who actually give a shit can go find it.
There you go. At Aaron LaFond. Are there any dots in your name actually? Periods, whatever those are called.
It's Aaron.LaFond.
Gotcha.
No, actually on Twitter it's Aaron_LaFond.
Oh, okay.
Because my Twitter and my Instagram are different.
Oh, that's frustrating.
Yeah, I didn't really think about it when I was setting them up.
It happens.
So
wow.
This is gonna bother me forever.
Her books have been named Best Books of the Year by Washington Post, NPR, New York Public Library, Amazon, Entertainment Weekly, Reader's Digest, Kirkus. So many. Wow.
Yeah. She was also one of the first self-published novels to get on
the Washington Post, right?
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
I mean, she's definitely like a decent writer.
Yeah.
I wouldn't call her a bad writer.
I would not. Yeah, I wouldn't call her a bad writer either. Just some kind of weirdly clunky sex scenes and pacing I didn't enjoy.
I'm afraid to like Twitter search sex scenes to try and make it come up.
Oh,
I feel like
that's a terrible idea.
I know, right? Okay, it's fine. I give up.
Okay.
It was really fun, and you're gonna live your entire lives without knowing what it was.
Oh my goodness. One day you'll stumble upon it. Literally, we'll stop recording, and like 2 minutes later, you'll be like, "I fucking found it."
I know. It's gonna make me so angry too.
That's too funny.
But it was basically about how just writing a sex scene takes a lot of courage.
I can agree with that.
Yeah. So, anything else to say? Anything else we want to talk about?
I don't know. We're only at 33 minutes.
Oh wow, that's low for us.
I know, but I kind of touched upon all the things I wanted to say. I feel like my final recommendation is check it out. You know, it's like $10. The thing I read about people being startled by the higher price point, I'm like, it's $10. That's a cheap book.
Yeah, it's just like it's just the high price book if you're used to spending $5.99.
Yeah, that's fair.
Or $3.99.
Yeah.
Where there is a jump, but that's because it's, priced by HarperCollins.
Right.
So,
and if you look at your I
said so like 40 times in the last 33 minutes.
I want to say if the last like 5 things you've read have all been by white people, then you need to read this because we all need to start like, expanding our pile of read books by different authors. I would say.
Yeah, I would agree, but it's difficult. It's going to require work to do that for a lot of people.
Oh, absolutely.
To find books like that.
Yeah,
I'm assuming self-published books are easier. It's easier to find books by non-white authors.
Yeah,
but also just like gay fiction and non-cis fiction would also be good. Just
expand your horizons.
Out,
yeah,
reach out. Especially if you're white.
Yes.
I'm assuming most non-white people are like actively seeking non-white authors at all times.
Yeah, right. I wonder if there's like resources for that then. Like,
Oh, I bet there is.
that would be cool to know.
I mean, we need diverse books is an entire website and organization developed put towards the idea of, we need diverse books.
Oh, that's very cool. I like that. Also, if you're interested in like sci-fi, fantasy, short stories, poetry, that kind of stuff, I would check out the publication Strange Horizon. It's free, and they publish a lot of cool stuff by POC. They do a lot of support for trans people. It's just a really cool publication that has like a very diverse set of people submitting content to be read.
And being published, apparently, which is also good.
Yes.
Yeah, apparently cool. There's like massive lists of places that you can find diverse books on diversebooks.org, which is the We Need Diverse Books website.
Perfect.
So you have no excuse.
Definitely check it out.
And as usual, we have absolutely no idea what our next episode will be.
What do you mean we have no idea? I thought we decided on what we were doing.
Oh, that's right.
It's like we better have because I bought that set.
So we're doing that. Did you start reading it?
I did.
Did you start reading it?
I did, yes.
The deal was that you had to like it enough to keep reading it and have it do the episode.
Yeah, I did. So I will keep. I'm already like a couple chapters in the book too, so we can do the episode on it.
Gear up, people! We're doing Sisterhood of the fucking Traveling Pants.
The whole series. Although, do I have to read the 5th one?
It's up to you.
Okay.
I think it's a culmination of an arc for all of them, and I do think it's important to the series.
Okay.
Because very big things happen in it.
Yeah.
It's not like it doesn't feel like Always and Forever Laura Jean in the sense that it feels tacked on. It feels very crucial to finishing out the story and who the characters are and everything.
Okay. I'll probably just play it by ear with how much time I have. So
yeah.
Yes. Forgive our back-to-back book episodes, but guess what? Everything is still canceled.
Yeah. So, I mean, Last of Us has a new date, which Last of Us 2 has a new
actually
date.
A fairly like soon date, isn't it? June something? Yeah.
June something. So, but I'm worried about Wonder Woman.
Yeah, who knows?
We could always do a book that's like pay, but all the movies, not the book, all the movies that are like in theaters and pay for are like $20, which would be fine if you were actually going to the movies and I would have popcorn.
Yeah, I would. I don't want to pay $20 to sit on my couch and watch a movie.
Yeah, I feel less inclined to do it.
So, if any of you out there have movie suggestions that you'd like to hear us talk about, let us know.
Yeah, absolutely. Pretty much anything you want right now, we'll just do because.
Right? I was thinking, and not soon because I don't think we have enough time, but I would like to do a video game movie episode.
Which video game movie?
But we'd have to decide because there's like a good chunk of them, and I think we'd have to watch a few to get like the full gambit of what they're like. But I thought that would be fascinating.
My understanding is that none of them are good.
The only one I've heard is that is good so far is the new Sonic movie that came out.
Yes, that actually got decent reviews.
Yes, that is.
If I remember correctly.
But I thought it would be fascinating to delve into that.
I mean, I think it would be right up our alley to do that.
Yeah, I think so. So maybe look out for that in the future. Who knows?
I can't believe I forgot we were doing Sister of the Traveling Pants.
I didn't forget.
One of my all-time favorite series, and I completely forgot. This is where I'm at, you guys.
This is life exhausted. Now. Pretty much. We hope you're all staying safe and healthy.
Yes.
As much as you're able to. Yes.
So
that's it. That's all I got.
And again, I had to stick another so in there.
That's like your thing now. I'm just gonna the quote post that I do on Instagram is just gonna be a big so. Just leave it at that. All right. We'll catch you guys next time.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye.